What's up? Everyone's up at 8:30, ready to rock it today, or what?
Oh, you already know it, bro. Just got the coffee ready to rock. Needed that caffeine hit. The pre-workout's already
Ooh,
wearing off.
I'm just passing 7-Eleven too, and I love their iced coffee. But you know what? Military mindset, no coffee, baby.
Are you going to the office on Luis or are you going to Moffitt?
I stay at Moffitt.
Bro,
I
Moffat
stay at
boys for
Moffitt.
life, homie.
Moffitt boys.
Moffat gang, baby. Moffat
What
You
up?
gang.
guys
What
are
up,
stupid.
Brandon? What up, Nicole? How you guys doing this
Hey,
morning?
good.
All right, so let's jump into some role play. And
Oh, here he is. He's coming
who?
in.
D Nasty?
Hey, Moffat Profits, come see us, son.
All right. Going back to kind of what I was saying as far as role play and stuff, we'll touch on a lot of different topics. We'll open it up to see if anyone's having any challenges and kind of how we'd blow past that. But one thing that I want to make sure that everyone realizes is, are you coaching your clients to send you referrals? And what I mean by that is your Zillow buyers, how many times throughout the transaction are we asking them for referrals? And if we are asking them for referrals, how are we asking it? And I think that's very, very important, right? We don't want to kind of put these clients on the spot. And when you say, hey, do you know anyone who's looking to buy or sell? Oftentimes we get hit with like, I don't. I don't know anyone, but I'll think about you. But I think if we switch the verbiage just a little bit, and this may seem super simple, and I'm sure a lot of you guys have heard this, but if we change that to who do you know who's looking to buy or sell real estate, I find a much, much better response. On top of that, typically when I'm asking 2 to 3 times throughout the escrow process is really when I start to coach them and I start to train them to start sending me referrals. So we all get caught up in the escrow. We all get caught up in doing right by our client and getting the deal done. Important dialogue for your business is, who do you know looking to buy or sell real estate a couple of times through the transaction? Because I'll tell you guys what, word of mouth marketing is the best marketing you guys can have. You don't have to invest any money. While everything else goes up, Google pay-per-click leads go up, Zillow leads go up, all these marketing costs go up, word of mouth marketing remains free. And I'd preach every agent on here, even if their friends or family, to be getting that dialogue out and as many times as you possibly can. Any questions, any feedback in regards to that? Nobody's got any questions, feedback? Okay, perfect. All right. Well, then that was my rant for the day. And let's go ahead. Does anybody have any challenges, anything that is coming up that might be stopping you from converting? Are you getting hung up on? Are you booking appointments and they're not showing? Are you booking appointments and they're showing and then they're ghosting you and just not working with you? Someone's got to have a challenge. Someone's got something going on in their business. And we're here as a collaborative group to kind of help you through that. So does anybody have any challenges that they're currently facing with conversion or anything like that?
This week I've had a lot of hangups. I would say more than the past month or so.
Okay. So we'll talk about hangups. Does anybody else have anything? Is anyone else having hangups? Anything else? No? Darren, how do you coach on? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I think just right now I'm getting more than usual. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. I'm just getting asked a lot, like, how's the market? I feel like I always just get taken aback when I get asked that.
I was just talking to you about this yesterday, Jordan.
I'm glad.
I'm getting that asked a lot, and I find myself just saying the market's good, but I don't like that answer.
Yeah, and Veronica, I appreciate you being vulnerable and sharing that, and same with you, Andre, because I think a lot of our agents are facing those same challenges. So, Darren, how do you coach? A lot of hangups, and how do you coach on how's the market?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear, baby.
Yeah, so that's always the question, right? Is how's the market? How's the market? And as realtors, we're designed to be positive and just always say it's great, it's great, it's great, it's great, right? But to me, like that, always saying everything's great and everything's good, like it is. I don't think we got to lie about that. But it's always a great time to buy a house or sell a house, whatever. But specifically, is it a good time for you? And so if somebody asks me that question, I'm going to ask them, well, here's the thing, Mr. Customer, it's always a great time to buy or sell a house, no matter what. Real estate is an amazing asset, and that's how the wealthy get wealthier, and that's really how you build generational wealth, is owning real estate. But really, what it comes down to is, it a great time to buy a house for you? What is your situation? Why are you wanting to purchase this house? Are you moving? Are you looking for a job? Are you trying to upsize? Are you having a kid? What is the motivation behind it? And nailing that down first, I think ultimately is the answer to that question. So because when people ask you how the market is, it's typically small talk, right? Like, and so I would respond to that. Well, have you had any thoughts about buying or selling? And if they say no, I was just wondering how the market is. Well, okay, great. It's an amazing market. It's always a great time to buy or sell a house. Really, real estate's a great asset. But if they say, yeah, we were actually thinking about buying, then I'm going to go deeper, right? I'm going to be like, okay, well, what's having you want to buy something right now? What's having you want to move? Are you renting? Are you just really diving deeper into their situation? Because here's the thing, it may not make sense for them to buy right now, right? If they tell me their situation, if they tell me they got no money, they tell me that, they can only afford $2,000 a month, like, their credit's horrible, okay, it may not be a good time for you right now, but what we can do is get you plugged in with a lender and share with you some steps. So maybe 6 months, a year from now, you can save up and build your credit up and kind of go from there. So that's how I handle that.
Nice. Well, hey, just to piggyback off of Darren says, I think caring and creativity is really the difference maker in, being a difference maker for somebody, right? And so, yeah, just like what Darren says, is we got to make sure it's right for their situation. And I would say, Veronica, something that I use is I say, hey, you know what? The market is still hot. There's not a lot of inventory. A lot of people are seeing opportunities in the market still. Are you interested? Like, actually, that's not how I say it. I kind of lost my train of thought. My bad. So what is the line that I use? Andre, do you know what we use? Carrie taught us for the market. Do you remember that line?
I always tell everybody, if it's buying a house, I say, well, the best time to buy a house was 10 years ago. That's a line that I always use with everyone. I don't know what specific one you're looking for.
That's a good one. I like it. So the idea, Veronica, is we want to get with a buyer's consultation with them, right? To explore that scenario. They're scared, right? If they're asking how the market is, there's fear based, right? That's why they're asking, hey, I don't know if I should make a decision right now. And so, a line, go ahead.
I think like what I'm coming across is that I feel like they're doing small talk, like they're just like, oh, like just a way to keep a conversation, but I don't want to jump to the conclusion that they're not interested. So I need help on how to like convert them to then start talking about what their situation is.
Yeah. So Veronica, hey, that's a really good question. The market, and that's what I'm getting a lot. What I'd like to do and what I normally do for clients that have these type of questions is I'd really like to sit down with you. And what I'll do is I'll not only break down the home buying process from A to Z, but I'll also break down exactly what's going on in the market and how that will affect you. And we'll dissect it. There's no obligation, there's no cost for this meeting. And we'll just see if purchasing or selling in this market, your real estate needs, if it's a good fit at this time. And if it's not, no worries. And if it is, maybe we can make a life-changing purchase this year and get you on the right track. Right? I think, for me, I'm sure there's a lot of different perspectives, and if anyone else has some different perspectives, but even though it's small talk, I think it is fear-based. And I think, people want kind of a breakdown of the home buying process, the market, and to kind of identify if it's right. I think people generally, generalize real estate agents like lawyers, and they think there's like a cost for this, and they think there's like an obligation. They have to sign a contract to do this. So if you can make it as not an agreement, no cost, no obligation type thing, I think that would go a long way. I hope that helps.
Yeah, I did. Thank you.
No problem. Andre, I didn't see you have your hand raised. Did you have anything?
Yeah, no, I wanted to piggyback off of both you and Darren. So Veronica, I think it's a case-by-case basis. If you're prospecting, talking to someone, Jordan's approach is perfect, right? Because you're letting them know, hey, look, there's nothing in it for you but to just understand, because people don't, even if they're asking it for small talk, they're not just asking it to ask it. There's some reason in their mind that they thought about buying or thought about selling that has them curious about it. If it's a friend, hey, you got to coffee for 15, 20 minutes, I think the biggest thing is, meeting people where they are and then making people feel understood. I think that's the biggest thing. We all know as real estate professionals, regardless of what market we're in, there's opportunities on both sides, right? But it's our job to really identify that. And especially those people that might be on the fence, we're not here to convince anybody of anything. We're just here to lay out the facts. And we all know with the cost of living and the raising prices and everything like that, that best time to buy a house is 10 years ago. I always let people know, especially on the buying side, look, if the payment is comfortable and you can afford it, then I would say, yes, buy a house right now. If it's not the case, then, maybe they go in a different direction. But we have to look at, we're not just looking at getting a sale, we're looking at building a relationship with someone. And ultimately we are their consultant, so it's our job to make sure that we're help setting them up. So when you do stay in contact with them in 3 years, 5 years down the road, they're like, Veronica, I know we were on the fence when we first met you, but thank you so much for helping us buy a house, because if we didn't, man, rent right now is like way more than what our house payment is. I think that's kind of the thing that I like to look at is I'm here to serve people, and I'm being selfish and I'm depriving them of having a great experience or really making a life-changing thing happen that's a benefit to them if I don't do my job and if I don't share that with them. So that's kind of my approach on how I look at it. And kind of, maybe certain ways where I can kind of probe and see exactly what they're looking for.
I had one last thing, because I actually had this recently too. Veronica asked, obviously, how's the market? Like everybody. And I said, yeah, obviously everybody sees things that are on the news that, because I was just doing it in a small talk with a Google pay-per-click. And I was like, yeah, you see these things on the news, but I was like, honestly, there's a lot of opportunity out there. And then I used a recent example of a client where they actually, thought they wouldn't get a good deal or everything's so high, and they actually ended up with a really good deal with, some seller credits. So I just told them, I was like, honestly, if you're in a good position and you want to take a chance on it, there's tons of opportunity out that you could take advantage of. And then it just opened it up for more questions for them to ask me and then me to ask them. So that's kind of how I handled it too. It's just a small talk, kind of small, quick question that they throw in there.
And one last thing, and this goes not only for Veronica, but I know Evelyn had an in-depth conversation, and really any newer agent or any agent struggling or any good agent, this applies to everyone. The difference, and when this market got tough, the ones that are making money are the ones that are able to clearly articulate a message and educate these people. Like Darren just said, that's a lot of caring, and he's clearly articulating, and hey, We're going to figure out if this is right for you. It may not be right for you. And I think that creates a lot of trust, right? Having a line that will cement them into an appointment, like, hey, I'll break down the home buying process from A to Z. I'll break down exactly what the market's doing, how that affects you. I'll save you time on your home search. I'll help you get your offers accepted when you are ready. Whatever your little value proposition, we have to clearly articulate our message, right? They're getting mixed messages in the media, so they're going to have more questions. And so if you guys are getting things like that with Veronica, like Veronica did, that also relates to Evelyn, make sure you guys step up and bring those to the table. Because as soon as you can bridge that gap, you could earn the income and hit whatever goals you want. Like, that's the secret sauce in this market, is clearly articulate a message, hearing what your clients are saying, and putting yourselves in their shoes and educating them. We also had, moving on, unless someone has anything else they want to touch on that, we also had, hey, I'm getting like a lot of hangups this week. Darren, I'm just curious, how do you coach hangups? Like, what are you saying to your clients that might be getting hung up on a lot, or maybe just not getting clear connections with their leads?
So you're talking about like on the first sentence, like when your opening line?
It could be a couple of things. It could be opening.
I'm sorry.
Let's talk a couple of scenarios.
Sorry, say that again.
Okay, it just seems like, hi, my name is Andrea Fabiano. I'm a local real estate agent with the Camara Group, and usually it's the first. Well, what I find is that it's like maybe the first time I call someone, or after I've called them. They've been on my radar for maybe a month and a half. Maybe after the fourth time I called them, they feel more confident, so then they can hang up. But it's usually like after, say, I'm Andrea with the Camara Group. Are you just browsing, interested in purchasing a home? And then when I go into the deeper detail, like, oh, where are you looking? I think sometimes they feel that I'm being too nosy or something like that. So maybe I should phrase it differently so that I can keep them on the line.
Yeah, I think it would definitely be nice to maybe hear a conversation to get some context too, because I think there's so many different things. I don't know if I could really see what might be a solution without seeing or hearing the phone call. But I know personally for me, like, I don't like making the first call saying like, hi, this is Darren DeSilva with DeSilva Realty Group, and I'm calling about the property on 123 Main Street. Like, click, hang up. Like, by the time you finish that sentence, like, you literally have like 5 seconds to get their attention. Okay. So, I don't know what you're saying or the tonality. That's a big thing too, right? The tonality, the energy you're bringing to that first sentence. How curious you're sounding, piquing their curiosity so that they'll stay on the phone. So there's a lot of different things. But here's the thing too, like, don't forget that if you have somebody and you're just trying to get information and you're trying to help them and they hang up, bye. Like, I don't want to work with people that don't want to work with me. Like, you have to look at what you're doing is so valuable. It's almost like if you were, I saw this video the other day where this guy is walking around New York City and he's handing out gold pieces and he's telling people, hey, here, do you want a gold, ounces of gold, right? And people are like walking away, like not taking the gold. And he's literally like, watch this. And he's handing them to them, and people are like walking away, like, no, don't touch me, right? But this, and it benefits this guy for them not to take the gold, right? And these people don't know what they're walking away from. So I encourage you guys to look at yourselves like that. Like, you are the pieces of gold that these people are walking away from. Like, remember that. It is in their best interest to work with you because you're hardworking agents. You care about your clients. And if they want to hang up on you, that's their loss, right? You can't control that. If you've done everything in your power, like, oh, well, move on to the next, because there's somebody out there that will stay on the phone call with you, that will fill your energy. and that genuinely wants to work with you. And those are the only people I want to work with. So don't chase the people and waste your energy on people like that, right?
Okay.
Because there's so many opportunities out there. I'd rather go after the opportunities that are going to make me feel good about myself, that people that value me, rather than people that don't, right? So I just shake those off. Like, okay, you know, I'll keep them on a drip in a text campaign or whatever, and let them be, and I'll go to the next one, you know? So that's how I handle that.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll piggyback off of Darren. One thing that's very important, guys, when making your calls is introduce yourself. And like I said, it's all about clearly articulating the message. Darren brought up a really great point of tonality, right? The second phase that I would say is we need to make an impression. After we introduce ourselves, we need to make an impression. And everyone's going to make an impression. What's the impression that you're going to make with the client? Is it going to be that you just want to get them into a home that, you know, the home that they see and just show them a home really quick? Is that like all you care about? Is it about trying to get their information for your own sick, twisted, private database that you could just leak all their information because we know people are weird about their stuff, right? There's so many different mindsets of a buyer, and we need to make an impression, right? And to me, the easiest way to make an impression is to come in with come in with energy and to come in super nice. We all hear about like model, mirror, and match and modeling who you're talking to. And I do believe in that, but I do think the opening, you almost have to come in with like a thunderbolt of like good energy, right? And I think that's how you make an impression. So if you're feeling like people are maybe feeling like you're interrogating them and getting the information, maybe don't try and get all the information on the first call. The very first call for us, we do Google pay-per-click, which is a little bit different than your guys' approach, Darren. But maybe we're just trying to get price range and location, you know, for the first one. Just, hey, my name's Andrea Popiano. I see that you registered on our website. You know, it looks like you're just browsing at the moment. You know, you could even say that, kind of taking down their layers. And hey, I noticed that you registered on our site and you're getting a wide variety of homes. You know, I really just wanted to hone it in and make sure we're only sending you what you like. You know, what price range and location were you looking at? And to me, and maybe you're doing that, Andrea, I don't know. I'll look into your calls too. But to me, that comes across as like super helpful rather than like any type of interrogation. And there's different ways to make an impression. And I think that could impact everyone. Is sometimes we're in the car and we're like, oh shit, Zilly, right? Like, I you know, it's gonna turn into an appointment, but like, I got a million things going on, right? And you know, that first impression that you make with that client is gonna set the tone for everything. If you're setting appointments with Zillow and then all of a sudden you're getting no shows at the thing, right? It's probably because you didn't make a strong enough impression. Because I know if I took a Zillow lead and I came with the right tonality and I confirmed the appointment within like 30 minutes of talking to them, they don't want to cancel that appointment because they're like, wow, we really got a high level agent. Like, it's not often that we get a high level agent, right? Like, we might not get another opportunity. Even if they're not feeling like going to the home, they will still probably show up to the appointment because they like believe in you and they think that maybe you're going to be the difference maker for them. So I kind of gave a way to make an impression on Google pay-per-click, and hopefully I was able to tie that into Darren and how your system works is you will get a lot less no-shows if you make a really good impression. You send a video text after the call. Hey, I just want to put a face to the name. It was really nice speaking with you. Confirm the appointment with 30 minutes. They'll probably show up to the appointment 99% of the time because they're like, holy shit, we're not going to find someone who has this level of experience, care, creativity, all those things that could be a difference maker. Now, another thing that I have for you is after you make an impression, you want to offer assistance or guidance, which is like that website, like honing them in on the website, or in Darren's defense, on Darren's side, right? It would be, hey, is there if I could find other 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,500 square foot homes that meet your needs, would you be interested in taking a look at those also? Because we know based on Redfin, if you show them 2 properties on the first time showing homes, you're like 67 to 73%, somewhere along that range, more likely to close that client. Okay. So we got to offer some guidance. And if we do that, I think we'll get a lot less hangups. I think we'll get a lot less no-shows. And I really hope that provides some value to you guys here today, because I know that was kind of long-winded. Any feedback, any questions, any concerns on any of that?
Yeah. I wanted to add to that a little bit. I think a lot of time when it comes to hangups, it's energy and enthusiasm. If I'm just making my phone calls to make my phone calls, or if I'm just calling somebody and I'm making it about myself, people can really pick that up. You know, you want to call people and you want them to feel like, what can I do for you, versus them feeling like, what do you want from me? I'm getting interrogated, asking different questions. Or sometimes we get so, and Jordan knows this with me, sometimes, you know, previous in my career, I'd get appointment driven, right? You're just going through the motions to get the appointment. You're not even listening to the person, and nobody's going to want to be on the phone with someone who's just, you know, just feels like they're just another number, you know, and so on and so forth. So I would say energy. If you're on the phone and your energy is infectious and you're enthusiastic, people might not even be in the market for real estate, but it's going to be really hard for someone to hang up on someone who's just being so nice and so enthusiastic to them. Sometimes, you know, if we don't have our scripts down, if we're not confident in our scripts, and if we're not enthusiastic, I feel like that's a big, that's when I get a lot of hangups. But when I'm confident in my script and I'm telling myself when I'm on the phone with these people, I'm here to serve them and how can I help them, you know, and I make it about them, typically my hangups, I don't have as many hangups. Now you're going to get some shitbags that just are going to hang up on you just because, I mean, I've done it when telemarketers or people call me. I mean, I think we've all done it. But I think it's really important that when you're getting on the phone with these people, especially the first few times, like you're wanting to get information from them to make their life easier and to put them on a search and kind of gather information. And you have to meet people where they are, because sometimes someone can hang up on you when they're telling you they're a year out, but you're saying, hey, let's meet for a buyer's consultation. We're not really, you know, actively listening to them. And that could obviously turn them off to hang up on us. So I would say the big thing is really energy and enthusiasm and being of service. I think if you do those 3 things, Andrea, which I'm not saying you're not doing those 3 things, but if you just keep that top of mind when you're talking to these people, I don't think you'll have as many hangups, because people will enjoy talking to you and you're making it about them, and everybody loves talking about themselves.
That's a good point. That's a pearl. That's a pearl.
Hey, Andrea, so let's role play, right? To get some context here, because there's a lot of different things. I hate for you to walk away. You know, I think knowing exactly like what the problem might be is the best way to go about it. So let's role play, you know? So you start off the phone call. So it sounds like Google pay-per-click lead. So start off the phone call.
Okay. All right.
Exactly how you would.
Okay.
Not special for everyone here, right? Just exactly, you know, how you typically, after dialing 10, 15 times, you know, after it feels like it's repetitive, how would you honestly say that you're talking to them?
Okay. Oh, hi, Darren. My name is Andrea Fopiano from the Camara Group. I'm a local real estate agent. How you doing today?
I'm doing good, Andrea. What can I do for you?
Good. Well, you know, I noticed that you were online searching at homes. Are you interested in making a purchase? Are you just browsing? Might you have any questions for me?
No, I was just browsing. I don't know. I had to put my email in to sign up.
Oh, okay. Well, what led you to the browse?
Well, you know, I've been hearing about the market. I've been asking a lot of people about how the market is, you know, recently. And I just was looking at houses because me and the wife just kind of, we're thinking about it, you know, thinking about whether or not it made sense to buy something instead of rent.
Yeah. Well, you know, anytime's a good time to make a move, but it has to be the right time for you. And so that would be great if you want to just look around, or I can have you view some homes if you like. What areas are you interested in?
Yeah, I mean, we're kind of looking on our own at this point, you know.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I appreciate the call.
Yeah, well, if I may, could I at least send you some properties to your email? This way you can look at properties right at your desk.
Yeah, that should be fine.
Okay. What areas are you interested in?
We're just looking in like Stockton.
Stockton. Okay. All right. Well, that's really good. Do you want a big house, small house, 3-bedroom, 2-bedroom, big backyard?
Maybe like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath.
Okay. Well, there are plenty of those in Stockton, and Stockton is a really good market. There are certainly a lot of homes for sale right now. So I do have your email right here. So I'll get on that today, and then you can view some homes.
All right. Well,
Okay.
thank you for your call.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Yeah, positive feedback. So I think you did really good. I think I put up a wall and, you kept kind of pushing, right? Excuse me. And that was good, right? I was kind of like, all right, no, I'm good. And you kept kind of like pushing, but what I noticed is that when you got me to respond, you didn't like ask me for permission. You kind of assumed, like, you were like, what city are you looking in?
Mm-hmm.
As opposed to earlier in the conversation, you're like, would it be okay if I sent you houses? Would it be okay? You're like asking for my permission rather than like assuming, like just saying, hey, where are you looking? Hey, how many bedrooms, bathrooms, right? Like, because I'm going to say no every time. I want to get off the phone, right?
Yeah,
so I'm going to just be like, oh, no, I don't really want to look at houses. No, how'd you get my email? Blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I feel like your tonality was good. I feel like you piqued curiosity. So again, right. That kind of leads me back to what I was saying, all you can do. That's why it's so good to just focus on your contacts and your metrics, right? And figuring out, no matter what I do, no matter if a person hangs up or not, I know that this man.
Darren, you're on mute.
Sorry. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Call came in. So I know X amount of contacts going to lead to X amount of appointments, and it's going to lead to this amount of sales, right? So that way, when people hang up on me, I know that that's great. I got another contact, right? That's awesome, right? Like, thank you. And then when you know how much you make from each sale, and you track that, what every phone call is worth to you, right? No matter what, they hang up, they say fuck you, they say whatever, right? That's $50. Boom, thank you. Like, you can track that. So that's why I think it's really important to know your metrics and when you're calling, because then that will help you, I think, when you're wondering, like, is it something that I did wrong? Is it something that I said? No, it's a numbers game. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing that you can do there, so just remember that, right? I think we could always get better, but that's why we do role plays and check in. And frankly, I feel like you did fine, So, I'm sure everyone has some feedback, but personally myself, I mean, I think you did great, and you're not going to win everything.
Yeah. Well, one thing that it's just I think I try to go into it too quick. That's been a problem all my life. I just try to like dive in too quick. I have to slow it down a little bit. Okay, I gotta make the small talk, and that's the hard part, I think. I just dive in too quick. Okay, where they want to go, how many bedrooms they want, what area. I dive in too quick.
I think that's okay. I don't think that's a bad thing. People don't want to be on the phone, all right? You're interrupting their life by calling them randomly, So the whole point of the phone call is for you to get as much information as possible and squeeze it out. Okay. So that way you can put them on a property search and what to send them. And you're going to, you're not going to essentially build all that value in the first phone call, right? I mean, it's very hard to show your worth on a phone call, right? You know, really that's only when you get to the appointment. But what you can do in the meantime is send value through emails, through property searches, and build value that way, you know? So, I mean, really, I think that's a good thing if you just go and try, because people don't, I mean, unless they're like 80 years old, right? How many times have you guys been on the phone with like 80 people that are 80 years old for like 30, 45 minutes and they want to tell you about their life story, right? Like, but most people are not like that.
Yeah.
Most people are working. Most people are busy. Most people don't want you to be calling them, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that type of stuff, at least for me, the small talk is meant for face-to-face, right? Yeah, I can't build value. I can't build a relationship over the phone. Like I can't. They can't see my body language. They can't, we can't interact, you know? So the goal is to get as much information and try to set the appointment and build value over time, you know? So that's my feedback, but I think you did a great job, and, you know, just keep hammering the phones and things will come to fruition.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I would agree with Darren. I think you did a really good job, and I think you're very, very brave for stepping up and doing that kind of in that scenario. I think that takes guts, and hopefully you'll get some insight. Two small tweaks. I think you did really good, but I think wouldn't have all the difference in the world. And you guys could either argue with me or agree with me. I'd love some feedback on this from the group. Is in the beginning, after you asked about 3 questions like at one time. And I don't remember what the questions were, but I think it was like just browsing, it was something, and how can I help you? Right? And that kind of puts the client on the spot a little bit, because there's a couple of things being asked that are very different from each other. And that would leave me a little bit stumped. It would leave me, well, what question do I ask first? What direction? And that would lead me to probably like a quick hang up, because I would just be like on the spot and I'd be a little confused, right? Hey, are you searching? How can I help you? And there was like one other question.
Might you have questions? Yeah.
Might you have questions, right? So it's like, well, hey, do I answer just browsing? Do I answer the questions I have? Or do I tell her how she can help me? I think that would leave someone, like I said, a little confused and might lead to a hang up. So I would leave it to kind of just browsing, if you will, because that's what they're doing. I think you want to, as soon in the conversation as you can, articulate that you understand them. And that would be making an impression to me. Now, the second tweak that I would say is you do a great job of like asking for the questions, especially when you ask for permission. Like Darren said, it feels very genuine. It feels very easy to give you that information. But once again, earlier in the conversation, I would articulate why you're asking those questions. If you don't articulate that super clear right off the bat, that might lead to like an interrogation. I know at some point you had asked Darren, hey, can I just send you some properties like through your email so you can see them at your desk? But I think there were some questions and a little bit of interrogation before. So I would ask, hey, one question, the just browsing, get yourself on the same page, that you hear them, you understand why why they came to your website. And then number 2, just clearly articulate that the only reason why you're asking any of these questions is because they're getting a wide range of homes and you want to make sure they're getting what they registered for. That, you know, hey, you put your information, I want to make sure you're getting the properties that only you're interested in. And just say, hey, if you don't mind me asking, what price range and location were you looking at? Because then you could build a search, right? And just like in our training yesterday about farming, it's probably the 4th or the 5th phone call when you actually break through. But when you're a servant's heart and you're servant's minded and you let them know why you're calling them, you understand them and what you're here to do for them, I think that will help a lot. Sprinkled in with everything that you just did, I think that would make like the perfect phone call and the perfect warm welcoming to make a good impression.
Okay.
I hope that helps. All right. Does anyone else have any more feedback from Andrea? Does anyone want to share anything that maybe you heard that you feel like could have an impact on her conversion or her calls moving forward?
I'd like to add that I liked how Darren was kind of being closed off at first, and then Andrea was like, well, what has you searching? Like, what has you being on the website? Like, she brought the conversation back. So I wanted to just point that out. Good job on that.
Thank you, Veronica.
Yeah, I would agree, Andre. One thing that I sense when you make the phone call, like I said, I gave you 2 tweaks. Maybe I didn't give you enough positive encouragement, because you did do a really good job. But the powerful questions you ask, and that's what Veronix is saying. And I think every agent on here, we get stumped, right? We might not know what to say. Ask a powerful question that usually will always bring the conversation back, right? You want to have winning conversations, ask winning questions, right? And Andre, you did a really, really good job of that, because Darren was closed off, and asking the right questions is what got that conversation started. All right. Any other feedback? Okay. All right. Well, hey, it's 9:13. We're going on 45 minutes. I know we want to respect everyone's time, and this is also usually key prospecting hours. So let's use the tools and what we heard today on the phones. Let's get a little bit better, and I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all next Thursday.